they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want a ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
Man, if you're a Lions fan, you definitely want a ring. And we're not talking about onion rings, folks. We want to win. We got a good show for you folks today on Lions Nation Unite. We got the two-man crew, the great Herman Moore and Chrissy, and, of course, Dose Baby. What's going on, Herm?
Hey, what's good?
Did you just 2 up, 2 down?
Yeah, I'm doing a 2 up, 2 down for people so they don't know I'm flashing signs on them like that. That's Virginia, it's 2 up, 2 down. Even though I'm in Michigan, I guess I could do one of those right there. You like that?
Absolutely love it. We got Chrissy, my little homie right here. What's going on?
I'll 2 up, 2 down also. He's turning me into a Virginia fan.
Oh, man, I don't know. I think we're all going to be Virginia fans by this. And, of course, we got Dose Baby, Dose of Dion. What's going on, Dose?
Man, I didn't come in with any kind of cool hand signals. That's unfortunate. I wish I would have planned something out there. I don't got nothing. I feel, I don't know.
That's absolutely a shame.
That
You
works.
didn't come prepared, man.
That was
you
good.
didn't get a shirt?
Hopefully someone took a picture of that.
Yeah,
come on,
you know what?
DB.
You know what, man? I should have worn my shirt on here. I put this one on to actually mow grass, so I should have wore the Lions Nation Unite shirt. But you can see it over there. It looks good. I see it.
Well, we're in office gear, so we're good.
Hey,
I know you
We
guys
OG.
look fancy. You guys look fancy down there.
hey, they're
Hey, that's
fancy.
OG, office gear. OG. You
Okay.
That's good.
like that?
That's good.
See?
Yeah.
Okay.
On my toes.
Absolutely. We got John Doe Chrome in the building. We got Owen J Street. We got a lot to talk about today. I don't know what you guys heard, but a big tight end just got paid, and it's looking like the Detroit Lions would love to pay their tight end. Herman Moore, should the Detroit Lions look to extend TJ Hockenson? Now, I know he's been injured quite a bit, but we spent the 8th overall pick on him just a couple years ago. He's going to be a big piece of this offense. What do you think about that?
You know what? I wouldn't get rid of him. I would definitely extend him. If you look at Eric Ebron, and a lot of people will disagree, and I know Eric Ebron struggled. He had that first-year struggle, but then he went on to become basically a Pro Bowl tight end. But TJ is already ahead of him, I think, in terms of his development, his involvement in the offense. So I see him as being a valuable component, and he's also he's proven, in my opinion. You know what he can do. You know he has the ability to beat the linebackers and create chaos in the secondary, and the fact that I think he's very comfortable where he is right now.
Chrissy, you've been around this organization for a long time. You've seen a lot of tight ends come and go Saturday through Sunday, Monday through Sunday, yo. Now, we spent a big draft pick on TJ. From your experience, seeing all these tight ends coming in and out of Detroit, what do you think?
I was about to say something I probably shouldn't have said in terms of tight ends coming in and out of Detroit. Yeah, I have to agree with Herman. I think that he's a valuable component. And also, I did listen to Herman all last year talk about how, because of the fact that our wide receiver core wasn't as good as it could have been, it took TJ out of the game a little bit more than if we had some other deep threats in our wide receiver game. So I think that he can only perform better now that we have some other components at receiver. What do you think?
Well, I agree with the injury piece. You want to see him take to the field and be there throughout, for that entire season. But you know what? I think he's just a valuable piece that I wouldn't let him go. I don't know who you replace him with that you're going to find, because you're going to need your tight end. Tight end is an integral part and a key component to offensive units in today's NFL.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we could get Eric Ebron back. Bring him back to Detroit, use the pan hands, not catch some footballs. I think that would be.
Come on, man. Pan hands. I'm glad I'm not playing in today's. I just can't even imagine the way social would probably, would come after me every once in a while. I mean, I had some drops. I didn't have as many. I didn't have like that, but you're all going to drop some passes. You look at it with Eric Ebron. I really thought it was mental at one point, and then as he got over that hump, he started to develop his confidence. And again, you look at T.J. Hockenson. He already has the confidence. He already has the swag. He has the hair. He has everything going, right?
Hair.
He has it all. So he's rocking it like, you know what, dude, I know I run things and I own things. And he plays that way. I mean, he doesn't play like as young as when he first came in. He evolved pretty quickly. And I think as long as you keep him healthy, you start to treat him as that commodity and that player that you don't want to be expending too much and putting in vulnerable situations. He's just, I don't know how much you pay him. I think that's negotiable. But that depends on the value of what he brings to the system that still needs pass catchers.
Yeah,
I want to know what you would have done if you were on social media during your playing days. What would
Oh,
your
man,
what
I
would your
would've been
social
living it.
personality be?
Social media would have loved me.
They would have loved you?
Loved me. You know why? Because I would have brought him right into the locker room. I would have been out, I would have did it tastefully and did it the right way. But, I would have brought the fans everywhere with me. It would have been great.
So you'd have been like happy. You wouldn't have been angry.
Oh, they would have saw the angry, the happy. They would say, I see why they're not throwing the ball to Herman now. He's not behaving himself. No, it would have been different.
All right.
Yeah, it would have been fun, man. We'd have 1 million followers and all that cool stuff. Imagine how many followers like a guy like those players back then would have had. Now they struggle to get like 100,000. Like I got to probably beg, to get 1 million followers.
You're trying right now, aren't you? You're
I'm
just
trying.
kind of sliding it in.
I'm
You're
trying.
like, man, I got to beg to get followers. Follow me at
Come on,
HMan84.
Come on, man. I need somebody to help me.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow on Twitter. At
They'll be like, man, what's your social
HMan84.
handle?
I know all of them. I know all your social
Sure you
handles.
do. So what do you guys think, man? We talk about this tight end piece. I looked at the wide receiver as a whole, and I think the value of the tight end comes down to how valuable is he with that mix. And I think TJ's a big part. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta love. I love T.J. Hockenson, man. He's got the belt and he's rocking it. Let me know in the comment section below right now. Do you want to bring back T.J. Hockenson on a new contract? We picked up his 5th-year option. Why for yes and for no? Let's see what the fan base thinks. Why if you want him back, and if you don't. And while that's going on, Dose, what do you think about T.J. Hockenson? Should we extend this guy? Should we make this guy top tight end here?
Now, I think H-Man hit on a big part. I mean, this guy came in with the short hair, kind of quiet, and then all of a sudden, bang, he grows out the long hair, and he's a completely different guy. But I agree. No, I mean, look, T.J. Hockenson, I think one thing he also brings on the field right now is he brings a big-time red zone element to the team that I don't know if I look through this roster, if I think of another guy that when we get inside the 20-yard line, like defenses start to throw a lot of attention at, I think T.J. Hockenson is still the focus of defenses when he's in that spot. Yeah, he missed some games last year with the hand injury, played in 12 games, but when we're seeing guys like David Njoku getting paid, I mean, Hockenson's production is on another level than David Njoku. I mean, the only guys that he really doesn't match up with when you look at him, some of the top tight ends that are getting paid is the Travis Kelce's. It's a little bit behind of a Mark Andrews, the George Kittles. He hasn't produced on that level yet, but still last season he was a big-time reliable piece for Jared Goff. I mean, he had over 5 receptions a game. He was 3rd in the National Football League. His production, what he brings to the blocker, where Dan Campbell has been, it's seemingly been usually one tight end kind of steals the show. Now, we'll see if it changes a little bit with Ben Johnson, but usually it's a one tight end kind of show, and they have a nice little piece behind that, like a James Mitchell. Now, it can be a little bit after the catch, can give you some blocking, and we'll see how that goes. We know we picked up his 5th-year option, so he's got another year to prove it. I think a big part of it is going to be how long can he be on the field? Can he stay on the field and be there for 14, 15 games, someone that you can rely upon? Because I think it's big time. I mean, you guys sit on, when you have DJ Chark and you have Jameson, you guys, these guys now that can bring some attention to the outside the field. TJ Hockenson is very dominant over the middle. And as soon as I get inside of 20, anytime I get a one-on-one, the ball's going there. And I like to have those guys that you can trust.
You just talk about David Njoku's money, $57.75 million 4-year deal, $28 million guaranteed to a guy who had 100 less yards than our T.J. Hockenson, and who T.J. Hockenson only played in 12 games last year, and it seems like sky's the limit, in all honesty, for his ability on the field. I love his play. I love his work. I think that he can really help this offense out in a big freaking way. Would you just look what he brings? He's going to rip up the middle, and then you have these wide receivers around him, the great wide receivers that we got. I love the duo. I love the trio. I love all of them, all 6 wide receivers right now. Put it in there. There's big plays, Herman. I seen you smile when that money came up. Money.
Man,
he's crying.
just-
He's crying.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how many times I'd have to start and restart and end my football career to come back and play. I had to play like 30 years. He's like, man, Herman Moore has been in the league for 30 years. He just got his contract over $20 million. So that's what it, listen, and I think you both, listen, Mike, you and Dion, you both hit it on the head here. If you look at TJ Hockenson and you start to determine his value, the other players, when the teams had to actually scheme to stop your tight end, because they weren't worried about your wide receivers because they hadn't quite come along. Ross St. Brown wasn't who he was at the beginning to where he was at the end. Then all of a sudden you bring in other players kind of that were making plays. Reynolds comes in, he makes plays at the end. Now you have someone that's going to take the pressure and get him back into those matchup scenarios where we see him dominate. He dominates safeties. TJ can dominate the linebackers. He causes your defense to have to shift. And when he does that, that creates a whole nother logistical problem for a defensive secondary coach as well as the defensive coordinator. So the 5th year, I like the fact they picked up the option, but I think they're going to have to keep him depending on how he's playing in the season. It's a big one because if he gets hurt, then yeah, I think his value in his stock drops. But somebody's going to pick him up. Believe me, that if they don't get him, somebody's going to get him, and that could come back to backfire.
Yeah, you're going to get a conditional 3rd-round pick for letting T.J. Hockenson walk?
I don't want to lose that guy.
Yeah, I
Not
mean,
for
isn't
that.
that a part of also just keeping your building blocks on your team and making sure that you're continuing to build from where you started?
I think the building blocks are a big piece. I mean, you've seen the ones coming in and out.
Yeah.
And as far as you look at the tight end position, it's always been not just functional, but it's been a key part. That's why they kept picking them in the 1st round, but they never got them to stick. And here with TJ, you have a chance to not lose another piece. I've seen now, if you look at what's happened, and that's a good point that you make, look at how you look, they start bringing these pieces and certain ones start to mature at different times, but then all of a sudden one's not quite right, so they get rid of it.
Yeah.
And then they realize a year later they needed it and it's gone. And they turn out to be Pro Bowlers or top players or leaders or whatever. And I would like to just see them have a little patience. That's what this regime was brought in to do and to be. So give them the time to put it together. 1 year, I think there's enough there for me to see that, you know what, I'm going to trust you to continue to figure out whatever you want to do. And with Brad Holmes and those guys, like I'm going to kind of roll with you and see how you build this thing out.
Yeah, well, this is an interesting piece, though, because then you start to look at what goes on away from the field. Like, for example, back in the day, they had so much salary wrapped up in Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson, and Ndamukong Suh. And so if you pay the people, you pay the certain guys, then you don't have anything left for your other players. And so, but at the same time, a guy like TJ Hockenson for another team might be like the missing piece or that final piece, and they don't have to pay as much for it.
I don't want anybody else leaving here getting a ring.
Right, yeah.
Or going to the playoffs. I mean, we can set the bar even lower and say, I don't want to leave and going to playoffs.
End up on phone commercials?
Yeah, end up on phone commercials. I'm not even going to start with that one.
Facts. Yeah, you end up phone commercials that talk about 12 years. Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need him going
Give
back
you a wink?
Yeah, wink. Yeah, we know. We know. We don't want
Herman had his commercials.
Hey, look, I think they would have me do a retake on my wink. I'll be all over here just winking. They'd be like, you know what, man, hold on. Cut. Man, he's not winking right, man. I can't even get my wink down.
Yeah, that's
true.
the last thing we need. I'd rather have him with Jake with State Farm. We don't need him over there with the LA and doing all that type of stuff over there and screwing us in the beginning. But you talked about patience, Herm. Patience. And last year, there was some impatience going on with Penei Sewell. A lot of people saying this guy's a bust right off rip, right off the first few weeks of the season. But then he really showed out the second half of the season. Penei Sewell looking like a boss. He talked the other day how he is in a much better position right now than he was last year. What is your expectations, Herman Moore, the great one? Expectations for the great tackle that we drafted last year for the 2022 NFL season?
I had an opportunity to actually interview Penei Sewell at training camp last year, and I remember talking to him, and I was like, this guy's either naive or he's got some swag and some confidence, because he's like, yeah, it's not much different. The speed and the size, the way these guys are playing, they're not, doing much more than I expected. I've seen it in college. Yeah, it's a little bit different. Yeah, the speed's a little bit different, but for the most part, it's okay. I mean, that was the thing. I was like, dude, this is preseason. You haven't seen what regular season is going to look like. And call me wrong, check me. The man went out and played. I mean, Penei Sewell was, I think, a surprise for everyone. And then when you start moving him from one position to another and ask him to do something different, and this is a rookie, come on, man. I was like, you know what? That's how decimated and what bad of a shape I thought we were in. We were like, hey, you the rookie? Yeah, come on. We don't need you to come over here and fill in somewhere else. I know, we don't worry about that one. Come over here. And he excelled. So he has definitely was a breath of fresh air. I know my main man, Lomas Brown, had nothing but raving reviews for him. And when you have another All-Pro and a future Hall of Famer like Lomas that was evaluating me, he was having me point out just the mobility of Penei Sewell. He was showing me, the fact that Penei Sewell had the strength of some of these pass rushers. And I was like, man, it's pretty good. So I like him. I really think that he's going to help that line. Not just, it's already a good offensive line, one of the best in the NFL. I still say that. But he definitely has added to the swag that line's going to have.
Chrissy, you've seen a lot of offensive linemen. Jeff Backus, definitely you're in that
Jeff
area.
Backus.
Yep, you look at him, Dominic Raiola, seeing him there. You've seen a lot of good offensive linemen. What do you look at when you look at Penei Sewell? How does he compare to the rest? And do you think he has a really bright future going into year 2?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not the biggest O-line evaluator, because probably like many people, I just look and see when there's a problem. And then I have to ask our guy Lomas, was that actually their fault or not, and ask him to point out what actually was the issue. So, but I go from his excitement, and he's extremely excited. And just from last year when Taylor Decker came back, and just seeing the way that the offense played differently, having that offensive unit together, that's where I look at it is, are you noticing them or not? And if you're not noticing the offensive line, typically they're doing a pretty good job.
You talk about cohesion. I know that's always important. What do you think about cohesion upon this offensive line? Staying healthy, these 5 guys, Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, Big V, all these guys just staying cohesive. That could make this unit just excellent, top of the line in the NFL. How important it is to stay with that same unit?
You think that's one of the bigger units that when you stay together, that ultimately gives you the best payoff, offensive line?
That's how you build a unit that become that all-pro line, and they become Pro Bowlers. When we were here, I had Zeph Ross-Moss, you had Lomas Brown, Kevin Glover, Jeff Hardings. And even if Lomas Brown and Kevin Glover were already guys that were Pro Bowlers, all of a sudden Jeff Hardings comes along, moves over to center, or he plays a certain position, he becomes a Pro Bowler. You start putting together, you start to get a mindset down the line. You don't want to be the weak link, and then you all of a sudden become the strong unit. And that's what I'm seeing evolving here. That's a unit that's going to take on its own life. I like the fact that they're not going to have to search for leaders. Mm-hmm. They're not going to lead leadership from the quarterback position. They're going to be out there providing dependability and confidence for the running game. And then the wide receivers, when you got a good line, you won't rush your routes. You won't feel like there's always undue pressure and the quarterback's under duress that you got to cut your route short, and then all of a sudden the passing game and everything's out of whack. So the line, sometimes people don't realize just having a gel, having the cohesion and having the confidence together and then keeping them together is important. And that's why I'm excited. And they're big. I mean, this isn't a small line.
Yeah. Do you think that the center of a football team is like the unsung leader that people don't recognize is like a big deal? No.
I think the center is, I won't even start with the center. That was always a funny. Let me tell you a funny story. Can I tell you a funny story?
I didn't know what I was getting into. I apologize.
Let's get at it.
The center that's the balance of your line. Then you start to move out to the guards, the tackles. But I remember the guys really started liking the shotgun. You know why? They didn't like to be. Quarterbacks didn't start like being under the center, and a lot of people like to think quarterbacks ended up start wearing gloves for the grip of the football, but it wasn't that.
How did I get into this?
Hey,
How did I walk into this?
guys used to come back and go.
How did I walk into
You know,
this?
they walk around like this. You know, that was like the coveted hand. It was like, man, they would come by and like, man, they would wash their hands all day and everything. I'm just saying.
Is the center the unsung grossest person on the team?
Center is the one that I'm sure feels much more comfortable that they have the shotgun and the quarterback backed up. I mean, the quarterback's liking it, and everyone. It's just a whole different deal. Not for any other reason other than they were just like, you know, these are big guys.
I don't even
man.
know what to say to that.
I don't know what to say about it either. I'm just telling you, it's not what it always appears on TV.
Now it always appears, folks. You know what? Also,
But the center, I mean, in all fun. Listen, center. That's your signal caller. He's the one who starts the play. He's a shotgun starter. All right. So he's got to keep everyone. He's relaying information down the line. And typically, Kevin Glover would come out and he was set. You know, he'd go out, he'd identify where the linebacker was. That would then tell us where strong and weak was going to be sometimes. Then all of a sudden, that gave us our hot call. So I would wait and see how he would identify or the quarterback would identify. So center is very important.
If we're at training camp again, do you want to talk to Frank Ragnow about your glove thing?
I mean, that's why they wear gloves. Don't let them fool you.
Frank the Tank.
There's always something special, man, you're going to get with me. That's what I do.
What he does.
That's what he does, folks. And if you want to ask him a question, Herman Moore, the man, the legend himself, you can do a super chat, and it will actually jump on my screen, and I can send it right to him. So if you really want to do that, go ahead and do it. That's what it's all about. Also, Dosa Dion, what do you think of Penei Sewell year 2?
I mean, I love what you guys were talking about with the offensive line, specifically the move. I know it's a little off topic, but Evan Brown. To re-sign Evan Brown, I love that. The fact that we brought it back our backup center that performed that the way he did. And even going back to what we were last talking about with TJ Hockenson, they've proven that guys that perform, they're going to try to re-sign them if they can. And that's what I loved about the Evan Brown move. With Penei Sewell, I hope that the addition of a guy like Obina Eze can stick possibly as your backup left tackle. That way we can try to keep Penei Sewell at the right tackle position because, I mean, we already heard at their training camp now, and I know they're start their guys at the bottom. He's already taken reps at left tackle because, you know, at right tackle we have Matt Nelson. So maybe we'll find our backup left tackle there to allow him to stay at his position. But that's become a huge part of it. That versatility to stick in like that week 1 against San Fran and then move back to right tackle, that's huge for your offensive line. And you guys said, like, we're able to stick Big V, and he's able to stay at right guard. I mean, to keep him at right guard, I thought it was huge for him because he was known about this guy that would move around. We signed him as a tackle, but now you just stick him at right guard and you see the improvements. So across this offensive line, to be able to have that, you guys said cohesion across the offensive line, I think has been huge. And Penei Sewell, man, he's a face of this team. Just go to the LA Rams game when he's getting the face of Aaron Donald, like that kind of thing. As young as he is, he's just setting the tone, man. That's the play that you take away from that game. It's him getting in the face of Aaron Donald. You love it.
Oh, that was an epic moment, Dose Dion. That was absolutely epic. You know what's also epic,
sure.
Dose? Is that LNU gear, man. Tell the folks about this epic freaking gear you can get on LNU, dog.
Yeah. Here's what I love about the Lions Nation Unite gear. And, you know, I said before, this is the way that it fits. Okay. You know, you put on your shirt, you come out of the shower, you put on the shirt. And just the way that they fit, okay, first off, they're soft, so it feels good.
Facts.
Okay, so you're not going to have to put some lotion on because it's like, dang, I'm itchy, you know, things like that. That happens. I've had some very whack shirts that are itchy. Things like that happen. These are not one of those. Also, I've had a lot of shirts in the past that for some reason they get holes in this area. These shirts, man, you know, they're durable, so they're soft, they're durable, and they fit right. You know, you can wear them for any occasion. Seriously, I'm going to play some basketball. I'm wearing the Lions Nation Unite shirt. All right. I don't know what the other occasion would be. Maybe I'm going to McDonald's. Either way, you can still wear that shirt. It looks good. It feels good. Absolutely.
Looks good, feels good. Absolutely.
And
hey,
the designs
females
are
can
great.
wear a shirt too, right, Dose? Chrissy
If
can wear.
they want to wear a shirt, they wear a shirt. I would wear a shirt. You know, I'm just saying. And those are the shirts that I would wear. Yeah.
It's 2022. Absolutely. Females know football as well, right?
They do. And
I love you, Dose. You're hilarious.
It's great stuff. It's beautiful. Definitely check it out. The designs are next level, by the way. I mean, they really are.
Christopher Smith.
Shout out to PK.
Oh, that's PK. That's our dog, PK.
Shout out to PK.
He's killing it.
PK is a G, okay? That is for sure. Christopher Smith donated $2 to Herman Moore and LNU. Appreciate it, Christopher Smith, man. That's dope. Absolutely dope. And much appreciated. Much appreciated. Let's talk about wide receivers, Herm. You love wide receivers here in the D. You know all about
Hey,
the
before
wide
we talk
receivers.
about wide receivers, Mike,
Yeah.
Herman wants to eat some candy.
Hey, you know, I've been sitting here like this, like, 'cause I got this bag of candy that Chrissy's daughter, Abby, ended up saying that I could have, like, I need to try. And they're like, everyone knows me. Look, man, I'm 49 plus 3, but I love candy. And on this, it's like nerd gummies. Like they got like nerds or whatever underneath, and it's got gummy sprinkles over top of it. Whatever.
My
this
daughter's
is.
like a candy dealer. She
But
really likes
they're
sugar.
really good. So if you don't mind, I'm just gonna stop looking at that and eyeing that like that, so I can just go ahead and have one of these. As long as you guys don't
I
mind.
literally just looked over and he like put his hand by the bag, and then you talked to him and he like kind of went like that, like, oh, I don't want to get caught. So I kind of
eating in class, you know.
It was like.
Gotta be smooth.
So anyway, wide receivers.
Those
while
are
you're
delicious.
Yeah. He didn't ask a question yet. I interrupted him. So
okay. I was
go
just
ahead.
ready to just boom. But go ahead. What you got?
What do you look at this wide receiver core? What do you see comparison to last year? Last year, I felt like it was cheeks. This year, I feel like it's really good. You know, you are a great one. When you look at this wide receiver core, do you think that we got some weapons this year?
I do, because even though we had Allison, we had tall players, we had some big players, we had a mixture of some veterans who were journeymen. We had some guys who came in that we thought were going to start that didn't even make the squad. We thought they were going to come in and provide something, and we got nothing. And to see how the unit responded to that, knowing that no one even cared, knew who they were out on the field, they went out and they played. Right? They went out and gave what they had. I think we were almost like, man, we just appreciate you going out there just trying, and doing what you're trying to do. To now where we go, look at what evolved with Raymond. Look at what happened with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Then you go out and you get DJ Sharp, right? Then you go out and you're bold and you move up and get Williams in the first round. Because you go, you know what? We're making a commitment to our passing attack. We talk about TJ Hockenson. We bring TJ back. Then you got the running game. Now your line's getting healthy. You start to look at this unit. One, they're not going to be young, big-eyed rookie players or young players who haven't had a lot of snaps. So now they're like, we're about ready to go. And they're going to bring a certain level of confidence that Coach Antoine Randall L is going to have a better job, in terms of being able to bring them on, coaching them on a more complicated scheme, doing some different things in the offensive package that aren't going to be as basic or predictable as we saw last year. I think that's what we're going to see out of this unit. I'm excited. Are they the best in the NFL? No. Are they the best in the NFC North? I think so. I mean, I really do. Some people may argue with Minnesota. I think Minnesota has some veterans, but I don't think they have the depth. But I see this as being a highly competitive team offensively if quarterback in position holds true.
Oh.
And let me preface this. Let me preface this so everyone understands. When I say if, how often are we seeing a great skill set around a team and all of a sudden the quarterback either gets injured or that quarterback does not play well? All of a sudden it starts to negate some of that talent and it starts to really just kind of flatten it out a little bit and make it a little bit more ordinary. That's the only thing I see. I say, let's see how Jared Goff responds. Let's see if he can step up like he was at the back end of the season. A lot of people like to say that we're critical of Jared and all those things. Go ahead.
Oh no, I want to take this opportunity because David Pike, who has his own channel, who's been on Lions Nation Unite, talks a lot about Jared Goff and the statistics behind Jared Goff and how, he ranks amongst other quarterbacks. And I love the conversation. And I've been meaning to have you respond via video because you responding via text isn't nearly as
All right, and
tackle.
I want
So,
to have that
I know
conversation with.
I know you've
Right.
seen some of those videos, so I would love to hear you talk about the statistical
Right.
perspective.
And you guys jump in anytime. Jump in anytime. Here's the only thing, the argument that I had. We can have variables in terms of why a player succeeds, fails, not as productive. It could be injury, it could be coaches, it could be all these other variables, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I do know, statistics do lie. Film doesn't. Statistics lie. Now, when you try and come at any situation with me and go, stats, I go hogwash. And the reason I say that is because what about the person who doesn't have stats? How do you rate a lineman in the offensive line and their ability to affect that play? How do you, the guy who's the guy that's the clearing route, that if he runs the right route and he takes the right people out, guy comes open, quarterback makes the wrong reason, throws it down deep. Where did that show up on a stat? Shows up on film. So all I'm saying is no player is going to be perfect. I don't pick your favorite player ever. He's not going to be perfect. All I'm saying is we all have to get better. Players always have to get better. You have to, if you're the quarterback, the pressure, whether it is right or wrong, you're going to have more pressure on you because you are in that big pressure position. You're the commander out there. You have to show that you can make players better. When you have less players, you got to elevate them if you're the guy. If I'm the number one, number two, his job is to try and help me get open, or I can make him better because I'm a number one. And I'm pulling cut. So it's cause and effect. But if I sit there and go, hey, he's just got to hit somebody, his stats say he's doing this and this. No, I don't roll off of stats. Stats lie. I'm taking that one to the bank. So that's all I'm saying on that. Don't disagree that you can use them. But that's why I say Jared Goff will be, everything is solidified. Last year we talked about, again, guys and young lady, we talked about the line and the injuries we had there. We had a rookie. Okay, that was going to be a reason if something didn't work. We talked about Swift and whether or not he could come back, or if he was going to be able to carry the load and all that. He proved that he's a dog, right? That Swift gets it.
Herman's a huge.
I'm a big Swift fan.
Yeah, I love him.
Then you look at the receiving unit. Yeah, those guys weren't quite right. No problem. I get that. But then now that you start putting pieces in place, Hockenson's back, everybody's back. It narrows your focus. I'm looking at OC. I'm looking at quarterback. The other ones, they're gonna do what they do. I hate to say that. I don't know if they're wrong. The quarterback's gonna know if they're wrong. Everybody's gonna know if they're wrong. That's all I gotta say about that.
And really another really important part of your conversation about that is getting those likes up. Right now we got 109 in the building. Let's get to at least 50 likes. Smash that like button, folks. The more likes we get, the more chance that you're going to see smile on Herm's face while he's eating some epic candy that me and Dosa Dion personally cannot eat, because we are not in that room with them, so they're definitely...
Hold up, Mike. Hey, Mike, bro. Dose, hold on. Mike, for you.
Don't waste time. I thought you can throw it.
Hey, Dose. Let me put you on the left side of my mouth. Hey, you both would really like these.
Make sure to save some. Make sure to save some. Yeah, I have some of that.
Hey, for the person who likes it, I know somebody just liked the channel, so I'm gonna eat this one for the person who just liked it. Somebody said they want to make a donation. Oh, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Chris is gonna eat one for you on that one. This is real.
What? Can you explain the flavor a little bit, like what you're feeling in your mouth right now? Currently?
Man, I can't. It's like
They're kind of like sour, but not. And then like the nerds on the outside kind of explode.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you what it is. I don't know how many of you
Herman's gonna
watch
tell
like
you.
the Science Channel, or you watch about the universe and stuff. Man, this looks like an asteroid, right? And it's got, Comet's got that little trail and the little tail of all the, the water and the vapor and ice crystals and all that. But man, this is like an asteroid, man. It's got all the
It reminds me of the
things right there.
everlasting
It's
gobstopper.
really, really good. It just looks, it's
more
very,
like a supernova.
it's very awkward in its shape, man. But
It's awkward in its shape.
it's got all these different. It's just
It's awkward in its shape.
awkward. It's just, yeah, it's weird. I know awkward's not really the word, but it's awkward.
It's awkward candy.
awkward candy, but it's delicious.
I see a sweet emoji there,
Hey,
Vet.
like the channel. LNU, like the channel.
Definitely
we
like
do
it.
what we do.
Can you throw one of those up and
Oh,
catch
man.
it in your mouth?
No. I'm
So
not
you're
gonna.
so you can't catch that way.
No. Hey, kid don't catch with his mouth. That ain't what I do. I'm just saying.
If I threw one at your head really hard, would you catch that?
Hey,
your
Dose,
hand?
come get your girl, man.
Talk
You know,
down
we
to
like
her,
to
Dose.
throw things at Herman in
They
the
throw
office
everything
just
at
for
me,
fun.
man. They'll come into my office. Hey, here's your sandwich. Boom. Hey, you want some of this? Hey, here you go. Wham. I'm like,
But also, don't ask him, "Can you catch this if I throw it?" Because he'll be like,
Yeah.
"Someone just well, who was it yesterday that was talking about you might drop something and you got so offended?"
no, because we were sitting and we were talking, and he had it in his hand.
Oh, yeah.
And I handed it to him, and he dropped it, and I caught it like that before he dropped it, and it was almost like kind of a no look. And then I was like, "What are you jumping and getting all nervous for?" I said, "Come on, man. You know who you standing with? Come on, I got this. Don't do that.
Have a no look.
No look, man.
No look.
Just, bam.
No look past.
There you go. Give it back to you."
You really need some confidence.
I don't want to ever play with a receiver that doesn't have confidence. How many of you in the comment section would ever want to play with a wide receiver or be around a wide receiver who says he has zero confidence?
Okay, fine.
Boom.
No.
Like that.
Put N if you want to be with no receiver, zero confidence, but Y if you wanted to have some confidence. Chrissy, you've been around a lot of players. You understand the intangibles, whether they're good leaders or bad leaders, because you've been on that side. Is that important too for a quarterback to have that intangible asset? They're just born bred a leader.
Yes, there's different types of leaders though. But absolutely to have what do they call it when you have the locker room, right? You need to have the confidence of your teammates. That's really important.
Yeah, trust and confidence. Yeah.
So if your teammates have to have confidence in you and trust in you, and a lot of times what ends up happening is the public doesn't have confidence in the player, but the teammates do, and so then they rally around the quarterback. But yeah, it's absolutely important. But leadership definitely looks different depending on the player.
See, she worked for the organization for quite some time, folks. That's why she understands what's going on there. Yes, she does know football, by the way. So just an FYI, she understands the organization at a very, very high level, I would say. Dosa Dion, Jared Goff. Does stats matter?
Do stats matter with Jared Goff?
Yeah.
Here's the stat that matters, okay? And I know this matters to all Lions fans. It's about do we win or do we lose, okay? That's the only stat that anybody cares about. And personally, that's the one that I care about with this whole situation. Now, he has to get us there. We know it comes down to that. And I love where this conversation, because, we went from talking about receivers to candy, which the candy part was my favorite, by the way. And now here with Jared Goff. When we pull it back to the receivers, I think the depth is the thing that you have to stick out there, right? Because you're talking about Josh Reynolds. He comes in and he's the guy, right? He comes in and it's like, wow, you can just tell he trusts that he's going to be there. He's not even looking. The first game he's with him, Chicago, he's taking a shot. Doesn't even see him kind of break, throws a touchdown. Oh, that's something. And now we're coming in this year thinking this might be our third or fourth receiver on the depth chart, right? I mean, that's who this could be. And that's going to be a huge difference because we know Chark has dealt with injuries. We know Jamo's coming off an injury. So the depth, I think, is big there. And I think H-Man made a great point that I don't want to go unnoticed there is because he said with basically the injuries that we had, it forced us to get creative with who we had on the roster. I look at a St. Brown. You were forced to move him outside. You were forced to give him different responsibilities because of how light you were at that positional group. But now you know what he can do heading into next year because you asked him, you put those things on his plate. To the Jared Goff situation, look, Goff, what I like is that I feel like Ben Johnson, who's kind of a blank canvas, he's never been an offensive coordinator before, gets an opportunity to take what he learned from the second half of the season when he was there before that and apply that to how can we best put the pieces around Goff to make him successful. And that's what they did in the second half. And I think the stats reflect that. I think when you see the success that they had offensively, the stats can kind of demonstrate and reflect that. While stats can lie, I think the film also really did improve because they started to put him in the spots where he was very comfortable. He was moving the pocket much better. He was throwing passes before he's seen him. And I think you really have to start to pull it back to what you saw out of this guy. Why was he the one pick? Why did Brad Holmes say this is the guy I trade up for? It's because of his willingness to stay in the pocket, take a hit, and deliver if he knows where the ball needs to go. It's these certain things that I look at that Brad Holmes, there was a reason that he traded up to go get this guy. There's a reason he invested to go get him. And Ben Johnson now has an opportunity to bring that out of him. Whereas when he was with LA, Sean McVay's thing, right? Sean McVay didn't say, I want to go draft Jared Goff. He was there. They did well. He extended him. Then he got stuck with it. Then there was frustrations, and then they won him out. Now it's an opportunity to really, for I think the first time in Goff's career, have a situation where it's like, look, you're the guy. Let's put the piece around you. Let's give you a shot and just see how it goes. And Ben Johnson, it's your first time as an OC, so work together on this. Make this thing happen. And I believe it will happen. You know, I definitely think it will happen. I think it's going to go well this season.
I was going to say, go ahead, because I want to throw something else in there.
Well, I just want to ask, because Doe said about getting stuck with him, and I wanted to ask you how important personality fit is between coaches and players and how that can affect a player's career.
Oh, that's big. The camaraderie and all those things you hear about in the locker room, that goes a long way. And then when you start talking about the channel of communication, and that was the kudos I gave this coaching unit and the administrative people who were managing that whole scenario last year, because it was a mess when you look at how the team was performing and playing, but they didn't have the dissension. They didn't have the breakup and the nastiness that takes place with blaming that you see with teams that aren't performing and are having the records in the season that the Lions were having. That's where I said, you know what, man, they have conquered one of the biggest non-paper, non-statistical items that make or break football teams and make or break professional sports. You look at when teams and coaches and all this stuff start going on, look at what's happening in the NBA with some of these players that got to leave, and the star player here, or this one guy there. I mean, that stuff has a ripple effect. So yeah, it's an important piece. You know, I was going to mention, Dose, you were mentioning about the receivers, and you looked at, you started talking about how on film, how Jared Goff became more comfortable. He started having different types of protection. They rolled him in certain ways and put him in different positions to make plays and to win. I want to challenge everyone. I want to ask, like, I used to know what a number one receiver was, because I would even be able to question you right now and say, do the Lions have a number one wide receiver? Mm-hmm. Most people say your initial thing is yes. But then if you peel it back, you go, well, wait a minute. Do they truly have a number one? And if they do, who is it? Mm-hmm. What's the expectation? What's the role? Typically, when you have a number one, you can almost put, you start coming in going, well, that guy's going to put up 1,000, 1,200 yards, 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns, and they're going to, do all these other things. You don't really have that still. And so do you really need to have a number one to be successful as an offensive unit?
I was going to say that too, is that there's so many different ways to build an offense, right? Mm-hmm. You don't need to have that star.
And I don't think they're as rigid. I don't think they're so rigid here to where they have to have a truly defined number one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just me, because I don't see that number one right now. Do you guys see a number one? Do you see a number one?
My thoughts are this. I think it's a good question, because I think of a number one, I'm thinking of a guy that doesn't come off the field, a guy that's always out there, a guy that's going to win no matter where I put him on the field. I think a lot of times I always think like a throwback of number one, bigger receiver outside, he's fast, that kind of thing. But then I also, to what Chrissy just said, different offenses are built differently. I mean, I think of like a Patriots. For a while, I was like, I don't know who their number one receiver is. Maybe it was Wes Welker, maybe it was, a little receiver, but it was always like, hey, Gronk, I know I can go to Gronk, right? That's the guy. I mean, is the number one the production that you put up? Because to me, it almost just seems like, well, what's that guy that I can trust when I know I'm throwing the football that I can go to? And for Brady, it was Gronk. For us, that could be Hockenson. It feels like it's Amon-Ra St. Brown after what he did last season, but just that guy that, hey, I can put him in different spots because now St. Brown's shown us he can do that. He's limited in areas, but if I need something, if I need to find a receiver and I need to be like, hey, look, he's got a one-on-one, he's got to win that. Josh Reynolds became that in a way. I mean, I would argue he became that in a way for Goff, where it was like, I didn't need to see him. If I knew he had a one-on-one, if I knew that when I snapped the football, I can go that way with the football, and I'm trust that he's going to at least break it up. I'm not throwing a pick if I put it where he's supposed to be. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of my thoughts on it. But there is no guy that, if you're building a fantasy team, I don't know who you take high, because I'm like, I don't know. I don't know who that guy would be. If I'm drafting on Madden, I don't know if I'm drafting DJ Chark, in the first 3 rounds of a Madden fantasy draft, So I guess that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
To me, like the unofficial stat is your number one is the one who makes the impossible play.
Right.
The unofficial stat. But it's the one that they weren't supposed to catch the ball, but they caught the ball. That's what I missed last year. I missed like those plays.
Mhm. Hey, Mike, you were going to say?
I was going to say, I think the potential for Jameson Williams to eventually be the number one once he gets acclimated with the system and healthy, maybe by next year, I think that's going to happen because if you look at him, he has the big play ability. He reminds me of a Tyreek Hill in a sense, a little bit taller. I think he has that ability, but right now, no. Because first off, he doesn't know the scheme. Obviously it takes a rookie a little bit of time. He's injured. But I think we do eventually have that guy who will be a go-to guy if Jared Goff gives him the football. If he can get thrown down range and become that big-time playmaker for the Lions. What do you think about Jameson Williams? Do you think he eventually can do that, Herm?
I don't know if I think he's more of a speed guy. I see him stretching the field. Can he go up and create the spectacular play over 2-3 guys on a consistent basis? Not that he doesn't possess beating double coverage. We know he can do that. He can do that on speed. He can do that by elevation. He has the hands. He has the threat ability to do that. It's when a quarterback gets in trouble and it goes to, you all make very relevant points, and that's why I even asked that. I hear so many people say, well, the Lions, they're going to need a number one. Well, what truly is a number one? Do you as an offensive coordinator or offensive scheme get to determine if you need a number one or if there's a number one, or is it number one by game? Tight end might be number one.
Yeah.
It could be anything. That the slot guy could be number one for this game because that's where the matchup problems are and that's where the big play opportunities are going to come. So I only ask that, and when I look at Williams, I think more of he's a component, he's a key. He's going to have to get NFL and play ready because he's coming off of injury. He's not just going to all of a sudden be in just superb game shape that he's been in the best of his life. He'll say that, but it takes some time. I mean, the mentality of it, just the action of it, the spacing, everything just has to come to play. You don't wake up and take some time or hiatus, whether it's the injury or whatever happens, and then all of a sudden you're back to being where you were. I really see this as being a moment of how does it affect the quarterback position. So I'm going to come back full circle.
Yeah.
When a quarterback gets in trouble, I don't care what the play is, and I don't care what quarterback tells you this. They know where their number one is at all times. I don't care if they're going to throw it over their head or if they're going to take a shot and take a chance. Pick a quarterback, right? They know where those guys are. I don't see them having that. And does that lead you to holding the ball? Does it lead you to getting rid of the ball prematurely? Does it cause you not to have confidence? Because you're going to have to throw to that person a lot to figure out who's going to be able to make those type of plays. Where's the patience and the opportunities to continue to do that? So it's a lot that's going to happen. And again, man, I don't want to drive everybody back because this is not a Jared Goff bashing. I know you asked me about Williams, but all of it comes back to a certain position, comes back to the OC, and then the players are going to be the players. If you're open, you're supposed to be where you are, you're going to get the ball. Offensive line protects. They make the possible, and everybody executes. The ball goes where it's supposed to go, right? That's it. The game gets real simple once you start figuring out who does what, and you really look at the film and see who's right and who's wrong.
H-Man, I got a follow-up question. So when
Yes,
you're
sir.
looking at the additions of DJ Chark and Jameson, and let's just say Jameson's healthy coming in here and they both play week one, and those are your two outside guys, maybe put St. Brown in the slot, but a lot of plays you're only having those guys on the field. So if that situation, does that lead to an issue then? Because maybe you haven't built that up where you have a guy like Goff and Reynolds. Maybe Reynolds doesn't have the ceiling of a Jameson or a Chark, but he's played with him so long that he just knew that, hey, I can trust him. Could there be that lack of trust because of the amount of time that Jameson may have to practice, and since it's just Chark's first offseason, or should that click faster where it's, hey, you only need a year, you only need an offseason, we're ready to go?
Yeah, everybody comes in with good intention. Like I come in with good intention as a quarterback, and I say, you know what, I'm going to spread the ball evenly, and I'm going to go through my progression. But the minute you get that pass rusher on the other side, because my tackle breaks down and my backside, my blind side is constantly getting blown up, then all of a sudden, whoever's on this side that's getting open fast is the guy I'm getting the ball to. It happens. He's going to come in. They're going to game plan. That is your OC. They're going to go in, the scouts, everyone's going to say, here's how we're going to build this week's playbook. Here's how we're going to build this week's attack plan, because we see these as being areas of opportunity against our opponent. Here's where we see we can win. And when it's even, they tell you then to your one or whoever it is, you have to win the one-on-one battle. And now when I go to these players, I go, can you win it? I think all these receivers have the confidence to win the one-on-one battle. I think they have the mindset from the tight end to the running back. Pick a skill position on that Detroit Lions offense. They all have the confidence to say, I can beat one-on-one the person in front of me. So as you start to get into different coverages, different schemes, it changes. But I like the unit. I think there's going to be, because they're younger players, they're high octane. And you can see, I'm watching the personalities of some of these players. Hey, St. Brown, he's going to want to follow up off of that year. He's going to want the rock. He's going to want the ball. You got a guy coming off an injury that they picked up. They traded up to get with the 12th pick that was the number one receiver in the draft. He's going to want the ball when he get back on the field. He's going to be hungry. TJ Hockenson, he in his last contract, in his last year of his contract, unless they up him and renew him, he's going to want the rock. Swift, he's going to want his rock. Now, let's see how they hold that all together. And who's going to be unselfish? Who's going to be willing to say, I know I got to eat. I know that we try to win these games. Man, I'm in contract year. I'm in decision time. I got to eat. You got to feed me.
That was never you.
Never me. Never me. I never said throw me the rock. I said it the day before, and the day before, and the day before in meetings. And I took guys out to lunch and dinner and stuff like that. Yeah, the quarterback in particular, stuff like that. But nah, man, I never said that during the game. That would just been foul.
So you never took your jersey off in middle of a game when you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Hey, you know what? Back then I would have, because I had at that point, man, I had 6% body fat. I might have had to go out there and thrill myself.
Self-marketing?
I'm just saying, man, it's funny how that's why I go social is amazing. Like, it's no way I would be like, let me rip my shirt off and go do all. No, I mean, you know what I mean? People and the consequences that come with that all the way around. But, hey, man, it's not everybody's bag. I wouldn't have done it. I would have just been a man about it, finished the game, went back into the locker room, spoke my piece, then take it from there. Unless somebody gaslit me, and then all of a sudden, they do that. They get in your ear. Man, I don't even know why you take that, man. They ain't even trying to get you the ball. You in the last part of your contract. Guys do that stuff, man. They get you going.
That's dope, Dion.
Don't even throw gasoline on it, man. They just get the flamethrower. Just light you up.
Flamethrower.
Yeah.
I use that in my new video game I'm playing.
Ignite you. Hey, she's playing this zombie game.
Zombie video game.
Zombie video games, man.
Hey, man.
Zombie Army 4.
Ooh, Zombie Army 4. Love it.
Yeah. I
Are
do.
they on bath salts?
What?
Become a zombie? Having that bath salts and going crazy and eating people?
I think I got that game, but then I didn't play it at all, which is unfortunate. I hate when I do that. You just gotta
I'm
sit there.
enjoying
Like,
it.
You guys are rocking video games. What are you playing in your video games? And what system?
Yeah. Well, I'm. Like I used to be like I think more into it. Kind of backed off a little bit, so I'm still on last gen. I'm PlayStation 4, but I just be playing Madden, man. Getting Hutchinson on there, going through a franchise. I like building it up. I like doing the little things. Trying to move positions, move players around, just build the team and watch them go, man. With some Super Bowls on there too.
That does not surprise me that you play a lot of Madden.
Oh, that's all I do. That's all I do. It's the only game. I used to mix it up a little bit, but no, I got boring with it. It used to be a lot of different things. Nope, now it's just Madden. That's it. And I don't play it that much anymore, but that's it. I love
the Lions
it. I don't
won
know.
the Super Bowl when you played them.
I've won the last 2 Super. Oh, you should see my team. Like, you guys would love it. I mean, we look good. I'm pulling my Brad Holmes now. I traded up last. Get there, okay? So we. The next draft that you guys might know Will Anderson out of Alabama, the edge rusher. He might be the top pick next year. I'm sitting there. I got the 3rd pick or something. I don't know how I got it because I won the Super Bowl. But I traded up to number 1, took Will Anderson. I got the storyline playing in my head. Like, look how aggressive I was right there. I just traded up and got another edge rusher. Next year, trade up to 1 again, got another defensive lineman. I'm following the Brad Holmes train. I love it. Let's get some linemen now.
That's all you can, bro.
You know what I was going to ask you? Is there a game in particular that any of you are looking forward to this year? I mean, a lot of people always have that game or a couple games they're looking forward to saying, hey, I think that's going to be, whether it's the one to watch. I think it's always hard to say what's going to be pivotal, what game's going to be pivotal. I don't know what that's going to be, but is there one you just say, hey, I can't wait that's going to be a good game to watch? Or do you even know the schedule?
You're saying for the Lions.
I'm just shooting zombies.
She's over here shooting zombies.
I'm just shooting zombies.
That was just a random thought, man. It's stream of consciousness for me. I'm
looking forward to June 10th is the Jurassic Park final movie. I'm looking forward to that. Because I'm going to watch it with my 10-year-old. And Sam Neill's in it, and my son's favorite actor of all time, Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Go ahead.
Hey, man, we all have that moment that we digress. I've done it. Yeah.
Have another piece of candy.
Hey, so don't ever say as a wide receiver I'm selfish.
Oh.
My hands are clean.
He gives to the people, folks. That's all.
I don't like for friends of mine to eat gummy nerds alone. So I'm gonna go ahead and join them.
That's what it's all about.
Oh man.
By the way, when we're talking about receivers, we can talk about tomorrow. We got Wide Receiver Wednesday coming up, and Herman broke down DJ Shark, and I got to witness that. And I always love when you break down plays and talk about the nuances and different things like that us non-receivers might not think of.
Well, Wide Receiver Wednesdays here on LNU has, been pretty cool to start to do because I really enjoy watching the game. I like looking at the positions. I love looking at the battles at the positions. And, being a wide receiver, you look at technique, you look at some of the nuances, you look at some of the detail that a lot of people may not pay attention to, but it can make or break a route. It can make or break whether or not a guy throws his other player off by simply doing an inside release when they should have done an outside release. And even if I don't know the play, that player was supposed to release outside, not get the guy running in the flat blown up. And but most people aren't going to see that, which takes the quarterback off the read that now he had a route front side and he had to go somewhere else. So Wide Receiver Wednesdays is a good way to starting out. It's not going to be all about what these players do great or what their physical attributes and all these great things are, as much as what makes them special, what makes them a piece to the puzzle, or why could they not have done more, being that they have the ability to do more. Like, it's just breaking down some of those other things that aren't over taught all the time that I think would bring a little bit more engagement and interest to those who want to learn just on that individual position piece. So I'm excited about it, glad to be able to do it, and got a great team of people helping do that, pull that off. Mm-hmm.
You guys in the comment section like it. Y for yes, N for no. Let's see. Spam with Y's and N's. Because if it's for you, right, Herm? You're doing this for them. It's all about them. So if you guys want to see it, let us know in the comment section.
Well, I would ask too, what was your takeaway from the Jamison Williams one? Is there anything that he said that was particularly interesting?
Everything. I thought it was outstanding. I thought the breakdown was magnificent. This is how you look at it and understand what a player can do on the field. And, for me, it showed me what we didn't have last year, is a guy that was a great at route tree, but the big-time play, and he kept getting open and open and open and showing why he was getting open. And this is something that's vital because when you talk about stats, we go back to the quarterback position. Whose fault is this or whose not fault is this? Well, if you look at the film, like Herm said earlier, you can see whose fault it is, so stats could lie.
Right.
But that's why I like it. And everyone right now loves it. Every single person in the chat's putting why. Woo!
I love it when you talk about, too, the game within the game. Like when you talk about, baiting your opponent or tipping off or different things like that. That's really interesting to me, especially it helps you understand why, as players become veterans, they get more savvy and, their physical attributes may deteriorate, but they're smart. They're smarter and they're able to leverage their skills better. And just that one-on-one battle, to me, that's one of the most fascinating things to hear.
I like everything has in routes, you have, and I'll just be brief on this, you have timing. You have to be at a specific location. There's certain influence that you have to do as a wide receiver. And then everyone has a role to play. whether you're the number one guy or whether you're in a combo route or whether you're just a clearing route. That clearing route, a lot of people go, they just use him as a decoy. Sometimes that decoy is important. And that's why when I talk about DJ, when you see me talk about him, when he starts to get into a certain part of the field, he's just like Williams. I mean, they start to influence what a team does just because they're one on a certain part of the field. And then also because all of a sudden it's a certain down or distance. All those little ingredients is what dictates coverage and scheme and all these things that it will blow your mind if you now think about. There's 11 players on both sides that are doing this. Now I'm narrowing it down to just one section, one-on-one and one player, showing how a guy like Williams, he has so much cushion when he catches the ball because they were so fearful. The safeties played so deep. They rather give him the inside stuff. They rather give him some of that free release because they wanted to play basically containment versus saying we're going to pull everyone down. And if he breaks free, I mean, he's got the speed to just run by the safety when they come too flat. So it was just interesting to see how they played him. But then that's going to change because I can't wait to see how they start to play him in the NFL because they're not going to give him free. They're going to come up and they're going to harass him at the line of scrimmage. The guys are going to be a little bit better with their jam technique. Some are going to be good to where you think you just beat him off the line of scrimmage because you thought you threw a move on him, but you went where he wanted you to go. He just didn't want you to go. You can go anywhere you want, but outside. But a lot of times you may think, oh, he shook that guy at the line. No, he didn't. The guy's thing was here is like, do not let him get to the boundary. I don't care where he goes inside. So it's breaking down that kind of stuff and having that kind of passion and enthusiasm about it, just in a position where I think I bring some authority and not to be critical, but just to be honest in what I see and where I see that we can learn more about that position. So I appreciate it. I appreciate anyone that wants to take a look at that for those Wide Receiver Wednesdays. And if you got any comments or anything they like to share, please share them in our comment section now. But yeah, I'm excited about it. Very much so.
Look at you training him, Mike. You told people to comment in the comment section. Look at that.
I'm trained. That's what my wife says.
Hey, Micro Mike, you are my mentor.
Hey,
Dose of Dion.
We're thinking.
You are my Yoda and my Obi-Wan.
I'm a little Yoda. I should
Chrissy want to know what she is. She's Chewbacca. I don't know. I mean, he was
terrible.
No, that was the protector. That was the one that was like the muscle. That was the one that came in and was like, don't play.
That was a good recovery. Good recovery.
What about Spaceballs? I think I'll be Spaceballs.
Hey, I'm going to get me a big Spaceball football helmet.
Yeah.
Walking in here one day. Just kind of sweet.
Okay.
With a big face mask on it like that.
Good.
You guys watch the Star Wars movies like that? If you guys seen all that, I feel like H-Man bringing up Star Wars have seen every single Star Wars.
I've only
movie.
seen the first 6.
Yeah, I think I only watched up to Return of the Jedi.
That's not true. I saw the most recent one also. I did have cats named Luke and Leia. Leia is still living.
I couldn't do the other one where it was like, they were in the flying city and people jumped through windows and all that. Just when Vader and I couldn't do that one, man. They fighting in hell or somewhere. I don't know where they were. The guy with the red and all that stuff.
They're fighting in hell, the guy with the red.
It just started to lose me, man, with the storylines. The earlier ones, man.
That answer right there, Dose, is a no.
Look, it's a no. What's great? I have no idea what he's talking about because I don't watch him either. So him breaking it down for me like that,
he doesn't need.
Ask him where the value is. The value is going to be in Star Wars, Return of the Empire Strike Back,
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, then Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And then you get those first 3 or 4. You want to get all the stuff.
The
there.
ones with the little blonde kid that were really painful. Yeah. The ones with the little blonde kid.
Blonde kid.
Yeah, he plays Anakin in the.
No, every time they started, that was always the killer of any episode when you start introducing the little, everything's working with chemistry, and then they always introduce that like the little kid.
Well, it was a prequel.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm just saying that somebody brings their kid in and like, oh, where did he come from? Oh, well, the parent dropped him off or the cousin or somebody. Now they're part of the sitcom.
That makes no
then
sense.
You knew the show was done.
Yes,
you know what I'm talking about.
For a movie though.
They do it in the movies.
But he was the main character. It was a prequel.
No, I know, I understand that. It's showing them at an earlier age and all this.
We're not talking about the Brady Bunch where they did cousin whatever.
Yeah,
his name was.
cousin killed it, man. He just
And they did that. I know what you're talking about, though. They did that on like Growing Pains.
all of them.
Remember Leonardo DiCaprio was in
You
that.
imagine that? They say, hey, you know what we got coming up this season? We got this little kid coming in to be a part of it. Everybody's like, man, I hope I got my rent paid. I hope I paid my mortgage. I think we getting canceled.
That's
Yeah.
We got a season. We got seasons. But back then, a season was like, you get like 80 shows. You know, they were doing like every few days you had a new episode. Now it's like Netflix. You get like a whole season of 6 episodes. It's like,
Yeah.
then you gotta wait
They don't
3
even
years.
finish the season.
You gotta wait 3 years for the next one. It's like, come on, man.
Remember commercial breaks, like when you had to like time it so that you could come back in time to see it because you weren't going to see it again unless you were recording it with your VHS.
Why are you asking me that question? Why I gotta be a VHS, right? Why can't I be
Beta?
in the Hulu or
Beta?
the Netflix? And I mean, you can at least went back to Redbox
Yeah.
or
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster
Ooh.
or something. Man. You're just going way back.
Wow. Sorry, I didn't realize.
Hey, what was it like to be with the VHS and the something in time in the commercial so you could do
I was
the
trying
beta?
to like relate.
I feel some type of way.
What was it
You know
like
what I mean?
before color, man? What was it?
Hey, watch yourself.
I didn't say. Look, I miss the Blockbusters, man. I want them to bring the Blockbusters back.
I'm just
Oh my
the
gosh, you
Redbox.
didn't have Blockbuster? Oh my gosh.
Oh, can you imagine
No,
Blockbuster
I
during
had
COVID?
it. I
Oregon
grew up
Trail,
with
dog.
Blockbuster, man. I miss it. I
Oh,
miss
Blockbuster
it.
during COVID? Yeah, they'd like be.
Oh man, you imagine everybody got to go in there and you got to clean every single one of those tapes. Like, hey, bring that up, man. I'd be like, man, I got to get that contract. Cleaning solution.
The things that you come up with in your mind are
Commerce.
truly impressive.
Oh, business and commerce, yeah.
No, that's just weird, that idea.
No, but think nowadays, you go into a place like Blockbuster, you're handling a whole lot of
I understand.
back and
I
forth.
understand what you're saying.
People just coming in, you don't even know where they came from. They just finish eating, they drop it in the box, you pick it up, and they just take it and put it back on the
You're
shelf.
talking to
They
one of the
open it, make
biggest
sure it's rewound.
germaphobes, though, that exists in the world.
And then yet again, we digress.
Mm-hmm. The
You're
Titanic
talking
is
about
sinking.
getting a
folks.
job cleaning Blockbuster videotapes.
You brought up Blockbuster.
No, I brought up recording with VHS, and you started bringing up Redbox, and like I was insulting you because I was talking about VHS.
I like Redbox. I like Redbox, man. Hey, you used to put the toothpaste and you used to wipe it on the scratches, and it just broke the disc even more. And you thought you fixed it, but then you put it in there, and now nothing works. It's great. That's a throwback. Yes.
Did you have the original Nintendo when you had to blow into the video games?
Oh yeah.
Make them work? Mike did.
What?
Oh yeah. I still got the original Nintendo.
I might have been still in the hood at that point, man. We couldn't afford that. That sounds expensive.
It was like 92.
Maybe I was still in the hood. I was still representing.
Got it. Well, I was
I'm not
playing
paying that kind of money
I was
for that.
playing Super Mario and Duck Hunt.
Whatever. We don't do that. Super Mario.
Would you play Atari?
Hey, watch yourself. Oh yeah, I did. Atari was yeah. Go over to my boy's house, you know, we had to share that,
Play Pong?
figure out who in the neighborhood was going to be having the game night. We passed the system around. Everybody got a chance to hold it up. Keep it for a week. You kept it longer than you're supposed to. We come see. Like that's supposed to be over here this weekend.
I like when you told me about how you used to have like the cardboard box in your neighborhood, and that was like the gold.
Oh yeah.
Was having the cardboard box.
As soon as we see the Sears truck roll up, and somebody's dropping off, getting a new washing machine or refrigerator, we were like, oh yeah, I got dibs on that, on the box when they take it off of the machine and put it back out on the curb. Yeah, we'd be out there sitting there waiting. Yeah.
And then didn't you have like different territory who got to own the box and the?
Oh yeah, if you ain't from that side, don't come to that side. That's our box. Smaller things, man, to keep you happy in life.
And then it rained and it was
I don't
all.
need all this material stuff people be doing these days. That's why we love talking sports. We love talking sports.
Sports.
Yeah, I get picked on about my accent all the time. I'm a Michigander. Not as southern as I used to be.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad, Michigander. I'm an Oregonian.
Mike, usually this is when you chime in for likes and stuff.
You just, yeah.
I was waiting for the next funny line to happen. It's happened like 10 minutes straight. But there's no funny line, folks. We are 19 away from 100 likes. Smash that like button. Let's get to 100. We got 133 in the building. If you smash it, that would be fantastic. Also, you got to check out LNUshop.com. It is freaking fantastic. Epic gear. Chrissy, tell them all about LNU Shop, where you can go, and why it's so epic.
So LNU Shop is epic because we've got our own designed merchandise that is, you just have some candy while I talk, that is designed by, we talk about our designer PK. So we got our awesome Lions Nation Unite logo. We got a bunch of t-shirts. We got some funny sayings in there, and we're just getting started in terms of a store. Like we're truly just getting started. There's so much merch that's coming, and Herman's very excited about it. But a lot of different things.
I do want to say this about the LNU Shop. It's not going to be what you think. Now we're going to have your typical stuff. We're going to have some hats. We're going to have some shirts. We're going to have some really cool things that are funny and say. But I'm telling you, there's cool gear. There's cool little trinkets and stuff like that you're going to want to put inside of your sports cave. You're going to want to have this as part of your daily interaction with some of the things we're going to have. And definitely, when you look at what we're going to have for game day gear, you're really going to want to check that out. Some really cool things that will change and will make rotating based on the part of the season and sometimes even the opponents and however we see that game being special. And then on top of that, we'll start throwing in some other really cool memorabilia, some other cool items that we'll get from some of your Lions legends. That'll be a part of that. And then just some other fun events. You just need to chime in and check out a lot of stuff we're going to be doing there. And it's not going to be things you can get pretty much anywhere. You're not going to be able to go to your other local retail outlets or online to get it. You're only going to be able to get it through LNU.
Yeah, Herman is not a conventional thinker, so there's a lot of things that are coming down the line that will be unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Packers fan that came in here. Herm, can you tell him what you did to the Green Bay Packers when you were playing for the Detroit Lions?
I only sent them in Chicago Christmas cards every year and thank you cards because you have to give to those who have given to you. They gave me so many touchdowns. I would just, it would be a very selfish thing for me not to say thank you to their secondary and thank you to their defensive coordinators, their fan base that really came out and rooted for them. But ultimately, I just was destroying their defensive back. So it would just not have been fair for me not to do that.
That's why you're a great man. Very nice and polite.
Yeah. I mean, it's the kindness of my heart. So for the Green Bay Packer fan that joined, thank you so much for chiming in and appreciate it. Appreciate it.
What DBs did you beat up over there?
I'm not going to do that. I don't get into naming names. I know they tried to test me with a lot of rookies.
You don't get into naming names?
Yeah, we don't do that. No, I don't do the name thing. It's a team sport. Secondary, defensive coordinator. I put them all together.
We appreciate it.
No, I got a lot of good friends over there, man. I had really good battles with Terrell Buckley, one of the smallest defensive backs, most talkative, but one of the nicest guys, man, that we would battle all the time. And he would get mad when they would put double coverage and bring a safety over top to help him because he felt he could just really take me. But yeah, I mean, he had some really good times when the ball was thrown low that he knocked it down. I mean, but when it was up in my space, it's hard to compete with that. But at the same time, Leroy Butler, George Teague, Craig Newsome, I think Sharper was there at some times. And I had to go down and mess with like Bryce Pop, maybe backside block on Reggie White, and he'd throw me out of the way, that kind of stuff. But it was what it was. It was cool.
Yeah.
Got to know a lot of guys on the defensive side.
I was gonna ask was it like playing at Lambeau? What was that back then? Back when you were playing, what was the? Because I know now they always say they look at the schedule and they're like, when do we play in Lambeau? You didn't used to be that way, and now it's kind of became a thing. Was it like that when you were playing?
No, Lambeau was just playing in historic places. Whether we played there or we went out and played in San Fran, or you play inside of Texas Stadium. You played when we played Washington, and you go to New York and play in the Giant or the Jet. You know where the Giants and the Jet play. And when you play in places that have that type of energy and that type of committed fan base, even Pittsburgh, right? It just brings something out of you because you feel like you're playing the entire stadium. You're not just playing the people on the field. You're playing history. You're playing legacy. Hell, you're even playing their legends. They might be standing on the sideline. You'd be like, yeah, I just scored on him, but that's for you too. You know, it's that kind of momentum, man, and that kind of environment. But I enjoy it because everyone talked about how hard it was for us to win there, which it was. Now I don't think the mystique and the aura that was there before still exists. But yeah, it's the fun part. That was like coming playing the Silverdome though, right? People would come there, they already knew. You come into the jungle, you come into a place, and we treated it like that. I don't know how the guys feel about Ford Field, but I'm telling you, that home field piece, we knew we were playing at home, man. You didn't even have to tell us who was on the schedule. Who cares who's on the schedule? We didn't care. We're playing at home. It was like, man, you defend the dome. You do not lose at home. And the fans treated Silverdome that way too. You ask somebody who was at the Silverdome, I don't care what our record was compared to, and I'm not throwing any shade on Ford Field, but it's like when you were there, that's night and day. That was night and day. The amenities may not have been the same, but
yeah, I was going to say for us,
the environment was totally different.
For us on the PR and digital side, basically the more historic the stadium, the harder it was to get from the press box to the field, and the worse the Wi-Fi.
That's all right. You there to watch the game.
Minnesota, we had to like cut through the concourse, so we're like dodging fans.
Got the binoculars, you got to make the whole experience just trying to get to those places.
Lambeau, we had to leave the stadium and come back in. There was one time I got stuck.
Yeah. I remember they shut it down one time because either the field was frozen or something got messed up. And we had to go over to like the Milwaukee Stadium. And Dave Craig was the backup quarterback, came in and played that game. I think we may have won that game. So I don't know if I ever won in Lambeau. Believe it or not, as I recall.
She had good stats.
Oh, yeah. I mean, from the individual, but that doesn't matter. I've learned that, man. If you can't walk around with the bling, that trumps everything. I don't care if you got any individual accolade you want. You don't have that ring, man. That's what this is about. That's what this sport's about.
Not on your
Take the individual accolades and stuff, but yeah.
So how do you? Because like I said, I don't know how much you go to Ford Field, but how do you feel like a team builds that, where it's that kind of sense? It doesn't matter who we're playing. We're at home. It's going to be that kind of environment.
I almost felt they were doing that when you had doing Stafford, Ndamukong Suh, DeAndre Levy.
Yes.
Those guys, when they started bringing in these type of caliber players, and it was like nastiness, man. It was like offensively, it was like we got some soldiers, and then defensively, it was like, man, you just hope you don't get a lot of guys hurt, and you start to feel that built in that momentum at Ford Field, and then it just dissipated. It's like, I thought it was there, but it's going to take winning. It's going to take a culture that the fans and the players build. The players are going to have to build it through winning and through how they perform and how they really take to the field. Defense has got to go out there and be defense. They got to be nasty. They got to make plays. They got to be intimidators, and they got to be shutting people down. Offensively, you got to go out there and make people fear your offense getting the ball back. And short of that, one side's going to be faking it, whether it's the fans or the players, but you won't have that, that bond that's needed to really make it the environment that we saw at Ford Field, or that you get in some of those stadiums where, people come in and they just want to be at the game because they heard about the stadium.
That's some good times. Some good times with Sue, Levy. Oh, those were epic times. 2014 was a great year.
April, yep.
That was super loud. Yeah. I mean, those games were really fun. Those were really fun from the whole era where we had, Reggie Bush and Nate Burleson and Calvin and Sue, and yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
it was just a lot of fun.
And defensively, you start looking at the names. I mean, you had some pretty good names.
Our defense was good,
yeah.
and then I think it was really good in 2013, and then injuries hurt, and
then Pat Matricia.
Yeah, it'd be good to see that again.
And then Pat Matricia decided to get rid of everybody. That was actually decent. But that's another show there. Thank you, Pat Matricia. Pat Patricia. Well, you guys, ready to wrap this one up?
For sure, man. I'm good. I got my thoughts out there. I appreciate you guys having me on again.
Do you have any parting thoughts, Herman?
No parting thoughts. Always love getting together. Really appreciate those that decide to join us and be a part of this show tonight. And we just look forward to just coming out, having conversation, having fun, talking about some of the things that we know are relevant to our local team, to our Detroit Lions, to the Lions Nation, to the fan base. But more importantly, we just want to be able to come here and chop it up and be able to do that with those that we really have great conversation with. And it doesn't have to be so hard, so hot and heavy all the time, and just whatever. But it's fun. I think it's a good format. We'll continue to grow. So I just appreciate that. So thank all of you for coming on and being a part of this. Don't forget to like it. Don't forget to follow it. Don't forget to click on videos and do all that stuff that Mike told me I need to make sure that everyone does. Yeah, man, I'll continue to share some of my candy, with you. Look at that. You know what I mean?
You said share and took it for yourself.
I know, man. I'm sharing it with the folks out there that's putting in the work.
Like, share,
Appreciate
and subscribe. Appreciate it. Dose, anything?
Nothing, man. I'm gonna come prepared with, first off, some kind of signal next time with my hands. That way I'm not, caught off guard with that. And secondly, I'm gonna have some sort of candy as well, because y'all make me hungry and I should have came with something. But I'll be prepared. Maybe that's cereal. I mean, you can't go wrong with cereal. If I pull a bowl of Cheerios and I'm eating Cheerios while you guys are talking, this might have to be how we do it. But appreciate you guys having me on, man. This is always a blast, always awesome, and the setup is beautiful.
That's what
I appreciate it,
folks. That's what it's all about. And next time I'll come up with some sort of candy. I don't know. I'll steal it from my kid because I'm a young punk like that. With that said, folks, appreciate everybody coming in. Adios.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters. They're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it.